the launch conductor in mission control, we pause at this moment in our countdown to remember and honor the lives of each of the participants on the Celestis Memorial Spaceflight. Their presence on this flight signifies a commitment to the opening of the space frontier shared by all of us. We wish the friends and families present today and all those who are with us in spirit all over the world Godspeed, good luck, and our thanks for allowing us to share this very personal time with you today. Elsie out. 5 vehicles armed. 3, 2, 1, fire. Missile away.
And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another mission update, a mission briefing, especially on our upcoming Serenity Flight, not near, but upcoming Serenity Flight. We'd just like to tell people a little bit about how this program works. We do have a comment room, a chat room as we call it. If there are any questions that you have about any mission, because when Charlie comes on, he's going to be doing briefings for a lot, if not all of the missions that are coming up. If you have any questions, if you have them in your head right now, go ahead and get in the chat room and type them up. And our team is ready to answer them while the program is going on. Don't fret if you're watching this and don't have capabilities to commenting on the show. You can always do that later. You can contact our headquarters. You can ask any question that you think you need to know the answers to in a lot of different ways. Call us, email, this program, the whole 9 yards. Bear in mind also that you can rewatch this broadcast again over our YouTube channel and on our Facebook page. So if you and you know any friends that are showing up late or anything of that nature, they'll be able to get a whole recap on this show at any time they want immediately after this program has ended. Okay, now we have a really, really great show to come up with along with our special guest that'll be here in attendance. So we're going to go ahead and pull up my boss, okay, Charles Chafer himself, who is basically going to, run the updates for you, tell you what's going on. Charles, how you been, man?
I've been good. I haven't had to dodge any hurricanes like you've had to, so we're thankful that you're alive, well, and ready to do your always fun and informative hosting jobs for us tonight. So glad you're here, Mark.
Well, thank you, Charlie. It was a pretty harrowing hurricane that I went through, but I should be used to it, you'd think, but we never are. But we're in Florida, and we want to make sure that all our rockets are still on the pads because we're going to need them at some point. So, I think we're looking good. We're doing good. So we're really interested in what you got to tell us for today.
Sure. Well, this is the part of these live casts, which, just to remind everybody, we try hard to do them routinely on the third Monday of every month. Try hard being the operative phrase. Sometimes, things like there's a launch that day and we can't do it, or just other things cause us to bump a little bit. But this is a pretty routine thing that Mark and I in particular have been doing for, I don't even want to guess how many missions and years we've taken advantage of the internet and done these live streams. But this part of the live stream is just me giving everybody, because I know not everybody here is interested in the Serenity flight. They want to hear about what about these other flights you're doing and give me some update on that. So this is what we try to do here. We tend to focus on the ones that are coming up fairly quickly, but a couple of our mission sets, the lunar missions and the deep space missions, don't happen every year. They take a while to put together. So, but people are always wondering where is that and what's going on. So that's what I'll talk about first this evening. So we have done everything we're going to do in 2024, but now we're heading into 2025 with two really cool missions, exciting missions. The first showing in April of next year. Caveat, all launch schedules are preliminary until finalized, but the rocket world has been doing much better these days than in the past at adhering to pretty robust schedules. So these dates are best available to us. So I'll start with the first mission on the plate, which we're going to talk about in depth tonight, is the Serenity mission, which is an Earth orbital service, and it will fly out of Cape Canaveral on our guest's carrier on a Falcon 9 rocket in April of next year. Shortly thereafter, June of next year, will be our Perseverance flight, which we focused on the last time we met, and which is one of our Earthrise services. What distinguishes Earthrise is used to be that it was a suborbital mission. It went up, carried our flight capsules into space, participated in microgravity for some amount of minutes, and then parachuted back to White Sands missile range landing. And we have a flown keepsake, which we returned to the family. That had been our first, 10 or so Earthrise missions. Perseverance is a new brand of Earthrise mission, and the focus is still on the returning the flown keepsake capsule to the client or to the family. This time, though, we're riding a mission that will take us to orbit for 1 to 3 orbits, and on a Italian spacecraft that will re-enter in the Pacific and bring all of those flown orbital capsules back, and we'll get those back to all of our customers and family members. That's Perseverance. So those are our two missions that we have on deck for next year. There's always a possibility that something will come differently, some opportunity will come our way, and we'll make it available next year. But those are the 2025 mission set. The 2026 mission set is both of our big missions. We have a schedule for the first quarter of 2026 for our Destiny flight, which will be our return to the moon mission. We'll be announcing more of that as we get further along through that process, but right now that's holding at Q1 2026. And then Q4 2026, which those dates come faster than you might expect, will be our Infinite flight, which will be our second ever Voyager service. We have our first Voyager service, the Enterprise flight, containing 250 folks, including 5 of the original Star Trek cast members, 2 NASA astronauts, and people from really more than a dozen countries on that flight are making their way out to the far reaches of the solar system. They're on a 2.5-year journey that started in January that will take the Celestis capsules out to a 300 million kilometer heliocentric orbit permanent orbit around the sun, truly an infinite mission, hence the name of the second Voyager service. So those are the missions that I'm prepared to talk about now. And as those of you who have been to more than a few of these, or even a few of these, note that more information we get to release as we move along the flight schedule. And that's because of the agreements that we sign. Remember, we are not the primary payload on anybody's rocket. We're hitching along. And As a result, what we're permitted to disclose and when is not up to us. It's a condition of being under contract. Fortunate thing is everybody gets plenty of notice who wants to attend the launch, and we also give everybody plenty of notice on when missions close. And I forgot to cover that for both um, Serenity and Perseverance. For Serenity, I think we have we're approaching 200 participants on that. So it'll be one of our larger ever orbital missions, not the largest, but it'll be a large one. And we have around 200 folks on that flight, approaching that number. We're not quite there, but the mission closes for reservations on 1 December of this year, not too far in the future. So if you're thinking this is what I want to do for Dad, I want to fly out of Florida, everything's what I want, let us know. There is room, and we can take new reservations up till December 1. For our Perseverance flight, recalling that's the return of capsule flight that's going in June. Interestingly enough, those missions close for sales on November 1. So we're looking at just about a month to close that out. And I know we have a large number of capsules on that mission. And the reason for the earlier closeout is we're doing, I think, it's not our first. We've done an international mission with Surrey Satellite of UK. But this time we're working with a company called D-Orbit, which is in Italy, and getting everything to Italy and making sure we get through customs and doing it right, which we always do. We are closing off reservations on November 1 so Colby can plan his European jaunt later in the year. He may have to make 2 jaunts. We have to hand deliver our capsules to our providers, by the way. And that's the care that we take. We're not required to do that, but we know the promises we've made you. We know the standards and expectations that you have for how we handle your precious loved one's remains or DNA. And so we literally hand carry these capsules to the provider. Okay, I think I have covered the manifest. Let me see if there are any questions. Hi, Northern Ireland. Glad you're here. Colby is not joining us tonight. And everything else, love to hear it. Yes, we will be recording that, as we said. Okay, I think we're caught up with the chat questions. So at this point, I think what we want to do is get to the meat of the coconut tonight. Okay, here's a question. Serenity launching in April or February. It's currently scheduled for April. And if you go to celestis.com, sorry, I activated Siri there. Please go to celestis.com, click the scheduled launches. The missions will all come up and you'll see that Serenity is labeled April. Valerie, thank you for your question. And watch those because they change. But and that our commitment to you is we always first post any changes on our website. On our chart said February. I don't know. I didn't look at the chart they just put up. It looks like an old chart. The website tells you where. Yeah, that says February. So that's an old. It had been scheduled for February. It's now April. And another question is Serenity's going out of Canaveral, correct? I'm sorry. And obviously, as we get nearer that, we'll communicate with you about our plans for conducting our world famous 3-day launch events that really are a great part of the service that we provide. Yeah, it's I'd say about almost a third of our clients find a way to make it to the launch, which is great. But if not, we webcast all the stuff so that you're able to participate in the memorial service. You get to hear the astronaut speech. There are a number of things that we do, which are webcasts during those launches. I think I'll stop. I've actually used exactly the amount of time that we scheduled. So I'm going to ask Marc to join us and to bring in Dr. Jeff Greenblatt, who is our guest tonight. Hey, Jeff.
Hello, Charlie.
Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. So I'm
My
going to
pleasure.
turn most of this over to Jeff to give you a little bit of an introduction into the craft that is carrying Serenity to orbit, the company that's building that craft, and really anything Jeff wants to tell us about the world of Above Space, headquartered, I believe, in Huntsville. Am I right about that?
That's right. Huntsville,
Yeah.
Alabama.
Space City, Rocket City, whatever they call it. So
Rocket
Jeff,
City.
welcome. And
Thank you.
I think you know the drill. A lot of the folks here have loved ones on board, so they'd love to hear about how and where you're going to house their loved ones, and how it's going to get to orbit.
Sure.
One thing before I turn it over to Jeff. So some of the best opportunities I ever get are random. And by that, I mean, I'm giving a speech somewhere and someone comes up to me and says, "Hey, what about this?" Well, that's how Jeff and I met. We were together in Baltimore
That's right.
for a small satellite conference that we both were speaking at. And Jeff heard my spiel and came up to me after the presentation and said, "I've got a mission for you." And my first question was, "Is it going to fly out of California or Florida?" Jeff said, "Florida." I said, "Continue on, my friend. We are very interested." So we've enjoyed getting to know Jeff and Above Space. I think they've got great concepts, not just for flying little flight capsules like us, but they've got a much bigger picture in mind for what Above Space is all about. And we
That's
welcome
right.
you, and take her away, Jeff.
Oh, thank you. Okay. Well, first of all, I am the Vice President of Science and Research at Above. I am one of the original co-founders. Above was established in 2019 by a group of experienced engineers, scientists like myself, and business professionals with the audacious goal of building next generation space platforms using flight proven commercial off the shelf technology. So we're not developing a lot of our new technology, but putting existing systems together in new ways to do innovative things.
By the way, isn't that great and different from a few years back where you had to custom manufacture everything?
Yes.
The industry has blossomed, and companies like yours are really able to take advantage of that and really value add without having to go all the way to the beginning
yeah.
of the aluminum coming in the factory.
No, those days are over. I mean, it's still not exactly a fully commercial market, but there's a lot of commoditization. So prices are dropping. There are many competitors for the same kinds of products. So it's a great time to be getting into the space industry. And so, so when we started 5 years ago, and we still have this goal, we want to build large space platforms to provide what we like to say more space in space for doing all kinds of interesting things, research, commercial activities, manufacturing, as well as human habitation. And that remains our long-term goal. We are starting with some smaller automated platforms, including the one that is going to be hosting the Serenity mission that's scheduled to fly out of Canaveral next April, and it is called Prometheus Spark. So, kind of the first spark in the Prometheus line. We plan to build several of these, and these are hosted payload satellites. So they are fairly small, kind of like the size of my two hands, and they are taking a variety of customer payloads, including Celestis, as well as some other research payloads, and those who are trying to get their flight wings show that the instrument that they've built is able to operate successfully in the space environment. And that's really what our business model is give customers a relatively affordable an expedient way of getting to space in order to get what they need to do done, and then radio all of the information back and prepare for the next iteration after that. And as time goes on, we plan to build larger, more capable platforms, but Spark is
Yeah,
the
I
first.
recommend everybody go to your website, abovespace.com,
Mhm.
and you'll see the evolution from Prometheus to big orbital tended platforms.
That's right.
And it's a great vision. Sorry,
Yeah,
go
thank
ahead.
you. Yeah, and I'll also just mention that we already have some of our equipment flying in space. We have 6 samples that are orbiting on the ISS, the International Space Station, right now, doing various kinds of technology demonstrations and science tests, and 2 other similar missions that are going up later this month and scheduled for next February. So we have a regular cadence of space missions, doing a variety of different things, always with commercial paying customers in tow, as well as some of the work that we're doing ourselves as a company. And we want to be able to share, the opportunities with as wide an audience as possible. And it looks like we have a video that,
Yeah,
yeah, can we get the sound for that?
I know.
Hmm.
Scared him.
This is part of our Prometheus promotion, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh, this is from the website. I see
Yeah,
what we're
he's just
doing.
showing the
Yeah.
side.
Well, it's worth
So,
watching. It's a few minutes long if anybody's interested in hearing more about our vision.
well, that's cool, and everything's going on schedule from your point of view,
Yes. Yeah, indeed. So we're very
and
excited. Mhm.
from ours as well. As I said, we believe we'll have we're shooting distance to 200 capsules to or participants to fly
That's
on board,
fantastic.
and I know our technical folks and you kind of worked all that out, and it's not going to be an issue for you.
No, you're a very easy customer to accommodate because you have no
Yeah,
moving parts, no power or data
right.
requirements. You're not
No,
generating
no
heat or
thermal, no
right.
communications, no nothing. Just got to get to orbit.
That's
And
right.
of course, for everyone that's watching, once we achieve orbit, then depending upon how fast we can pull the information out of the people that provided it, NORAD and other places, we'll then be able to track that spacecraft right on our website 24/7. And for those of you who have a loved one on board, you can find out when mom is going overhead, what time, and you can
So
go out
exciting.
and cheer for her. So, well,
Charlie, I
that
I was just gonna add,
Excuse
I'm
me
sorry to
for
interrupt you. Oh,
yeah,
you
excuse me
first.
for interrupting. Yeah, Jeff, at any time you want to
Hmm.
oh, I'm getting an alert on my phone here.
uh,
Anytime you want to play that video, just let me know.
Okay, sounds good. Yeah, we can certainly play that video after we're done talking, Charlie. I was just going to mention, I don't think you said to the listeners that our mission is going to be on orbit for at least a year. That is the planned operational life,
right.
and then after that, we sort of have an indefinite period where we will continue to operate if there's interest.
Humanity's expansion into space will happen much faster than you think. The
I like this.
availability of microgravity.
Just finish.
Premature
Yeah,
there.
that's a good point. And you don't need to be operating the spacecraft for us to continue logging days and weeks in space.
Right,
So
right.
it
It'll
would
still
be
be
a
a
good opportunity to have it. All right. I think, Mark, are you wanting to play this now? Is that I get the sense we're watching it now. We're
yeah.
kind of watching it.
No,
Oh,
I am sorry, Charlie. I
that's
actually
all right.
thought it. Jeff said it was okay to play it in the background. I unfortunately had the volume on and I muted it.
Well, what I think he said is, as soon as we get done talking, we can run it with the volume, which I think is the best way. And I'm
No problem.
so couple of uh, viewers, Tony McCoy, looking forward to having you back for our next launch and having several passengers with us. Tony's taking advantage of our DNA option that allows people to fly together with their loved ones, among other things. So we welcome her back. John Wagner Yeah, the capsules are always attached. They are never released. We
That's
don't want
right.
to create any anti-satellite weapons up there. So they will stay, the model for our orbital missions is they stay attached to, in this case, the Prometheus. The Prometheus operates, never releases flight capsules, and then burns up on reentry at some point in space, which generally they know when that's going to happen, and generally they provide us with information so we can tell folks it's on a reentry path.
Yeah,
Um,
usually within a few days, and ultimately, the exact moment, because you're watching the decay of that orbit as you
right,
fall through the atmosphere. You know,
absolutely. Yeah.
so
So a couple more questions. Al asks if Above Space Satellites just one of many payloads on the Falcon 9 launch. I'm going to just venture a yes there.
yeah. So you are a rideshare of a rideshare. We are a
Yeah,
rideshare payload ourselves. I don't know how many passengers are on that particular ride, but there is a primary payload, which I believe is a NASA payload, and then a number of commercial entities like ourselves hitching a ride to orbit.
yeah. Susan asks, can we track the payload for a minimum of 1 year? Well, we don't know what the minimum is. It's first got to achieve orbit, then you figure out what the minimum amount of time on orbit
Right.
it is. And we rely upon our friends in the Space Force and elsewhere to pull that information out. So, for example, when a bunch of satellites are released, like you see a lot these days, it takes them a while to spread out to the point where they can be individually identified. So, while everybody wants to track the day we fly it, that's just not possible. But we put it up just as quickly as the information allows, and it will be a good opportunity to track.
Mhm.
Let's see. Lunar question: orbit the moon or land on the surface? The answer is yes. some orbit, some land on the surface. Our first mission was actually impacted on the lunar surface as part of a science experiment that NASA wanted to run on water at the moon's south pole. So there are a variety of lunar options. The way that we word the service is orbit or placement on the lunar surface. Okay, let's take a quick break here. How long is that video, Jeff?
I want to say it's 3 minutes, but it may
Oh,
be a
okay.
little longer. Yeah.
Mark, you want to run the Prometheus video now for us, please, if you can?
I think the sound needs to be turned on too.
Need some sound.
Do on Earth. Activities such as manufacturing, pharmaceuticals, tourism, and many others. The question is, what are the steps that move us toward that? We're in the midst of the first step right now, a dramatic decrease in the cost of launching to space. This enables activities to be profit-making now that 10 years ago were uneconomical. The next step, these payloads need some place to go, a destination. And the great majority of these activities will need pressurized vessels containing air. They need water, they need power, they need thermal control so you don't get too hot or too cold. And of course, particular commercial activities require specialized facilities and services. Finally, we need to bring some of these payloads back to Earth. Right now, the only facility providing all those is the International Space Station. But the problem is the ISS was designed as a research and development facility, not as a full-scale production facility. Space is limited, thermal control is limited, power is limited, and because of that, access is limited. That means there are thousands of commercial missions bottlenecked by the ISS and clamoring for an alternative. That is the need Above is addressing. Meet Prometheus, a modular infrastructure platform that meets a wide range of government and commercial applications. Prometheus offers, in months instead of years, access to custom pressurized environments, facilities, and services to support the needs of on-orbit product development and manufacturing at a fraction of the price of the ISS. Above greatly reduces costs by hosting multiple payloads on each flight with automation and using low-risk commercial off-the-shelf technologies. COTS technologies are very important because they avoid the cost, schedule, and performance risk of developing new technologies. Prometheus enables the development of the next generation of commercial space companies and is the cornerstone of our development program leading to long-term habitable space stations. The key to securing first-mover advantage is heritage. The Above team, with its decades of experience in spaceflight, space technologies, and mission architecture, is ideally positioned to take advantage of commercial off-the-shelf technologies, putting them together in creative ways to do things that have never been done before. Between myself and Robert Miyake, we have enough experience in spaceflight missions and operations to know what works in space and what doesn't work in space, and this greatly reduces the risks for the missions that we're designing in the future. And that's why the Department of Defense has entrusted us with a contract to develop our Archimedes platform, a platform that is rapidly deployable and a flat surface that supports many different applications such as radar, high data rate communications, and energy transmission and generation. My colleagues and I started Above because we realized we had a fast track to allow humanity to move to space and to make a profit doing so. We already have the letters of commitment to make this profitable from the very first mission. Prometheus is the next step in a wide range of critical infrastructure solutions. This is happening. We are going. And in phase 2, we'll begin to offer return of payloads to Earth. If you believe in the mission of providing more space in space, join us.
Very cool.
Yeah, thanks for showing that.
Yeah, no, it's just a logical extension of commercial development. I mean, it makes a lot of sense. People need access to space, and with companies such as yours and others that are out there providing that, it's really a renaissance of being able to get there, which has been a challenge for us at times, but it's not a challenge anymore. We're excited to work with you.
And we are with you as well.
Yeah, cool. Well, I see, well, I don't, opening space station, got a 2001 fan tracking us here, and appreciate that. All right. Well, I'm not sure we have, doesn't look like we have any more questions tonight. And so what I guess we can do, Mark, is, whoops, yeah, is say, well done. Looking forward to coming down to Florida again next year. Oh, and here's a question for two questions. Landing on the lunar surface. Got to keep my lip zipped on that. We'll have information for you soon. Do we help with arrangements to view the launch? Oh yeah, we put on a 3-day celebration in Florida. Day 1 is usually just arrival, some sort of a reception. Day two is a memorial service, non-sectarian. That's usually accompanied by one or more VIP speakers. And day 3, we lease a private location that's as close as the public can get to the launch site. We viewed from both sides of both the south end of Canaveral and the north end of Canaveral, depending upon which mission is flying. But we'll make all that available to people. And it's, the last mission earlier this year that we hosted out of Florida, we had over 600 guests at that mission. So when I say, oh yeah, the answer is yes, we do. Future flights to deploy payloads to Prometheus. Well, it's looking good. I love the fact that they've got a re-entry capability in the works, and we like working with them. So I think all the signs are promising there, and wish them great success, and we'll ride on their coattails.
Absolutely.
Day launch or evening? I don't think we know that yet, Jeff.
No.
Right, we don't know that yet. And thank you for what you do, Sun's Dream to Travel. Thank you, Susan. It never becomes passé. We deeply understand the service that we're providing for you and for others, and we know how touching and fulfilling it is and can be, because we've done it 23 times, and it never changes. Each mission is unique. It's a unique set of folks that attend, a unique set of folks that view the webcast, a singular goal, in this case, get to orbit. And it's something we're very proud of. With 23 missions so far and 24 and 25 coming up next year, we are very able to help you celebrate. And that's what it should be and what it is. I mean, yes, there's always grief involved. There's always loss involved. But you will never attend a memorial service or a funeral where there is as much cheering and high-fiving as there is at our launches. You just won't. It's
I
the
can
joy
imagine.
that we develop and that we bring to people is, I think it's the reason why we've done it 23 times. Okay.
I have a couple questions
please.
For Jeff. Jeff, first off, I understand you own I have some nerdy questions to ask you. Okay, so I hope you're ready.
Sure. I'll do my best to answer.
Are you you're not addressed as a doctor, of course. You do hold a PhD, but I'm not sure if that gives you a listing. Are you Dr. Greenblatt?
I am Dr. Greenblatt,
Yes,
but not the
indeed.
medical kind, the research
Very
kind.
good. Yeah, okay. And then my second question is, how the heck did you get into this? I mean, were you a science fiction fan? Were you just someone who shot rockets off in their backyard? Can you give us a brief explanation?
Oh, I love that you asked that, Mark. Thank you. I am not one of those people who shot rockets in my backyard, but I have been a lifelong fan of astronomy and space, and used to dream about all kinds of big ideas when I was younger, and it certainly helped to guide my direction professionally. But I became a chemist, and I actually worked in the environmental sciences field for about 2 decades before starting to learn about what was happening in the commercial space industry. I always thought, like most of us, that space was sort of synonymous with NASA, and that was really just a government, led institution. And I was not aware of the changes that have been happening over the past decade or so since the International Space Station had gone up. And so a friend of mine who is a fan of the space industry took me to a local conference, and my mind was blown wide open. And I thought, man, I just have to find a way to get involved in this somehow. I'm a professional scientist. I love new technologies. I want to think out of the box. There's got to be some way that I can help. And within a couple of years, I was doing some consulting research, actually looking at making propellants on Mars. That was the first project that I did as paid work in the space industry. And then from there, found my way to the Above folks as a co-founder, and it's been a wild ride ever since.
Wow. Are you a sci-fi?
Properly
Go ahead.
geeky, and I was going to say properly geeky and cool.
Oh, yes, in all the right ways. What was your question, Mark?
Are you a sci-fi fan at all?
Movies,
of course. Television?
Yeah, I love it. I love all of it.
Any favorites out there? I hate to think a politician has just gotten into your position without being a nerd too. So.
Oh my gosh. I don't think I have a favorite. I can say about the genre though, what I love about science fiction is it kind of gives us some extra permission to dream because, in addition to plots that may never have happened, we don't have to be limited by the current constructs of our social structure, our technology, or even our organismal form, right? I mean, there's lots of sci-fi that's about non-human entities and other intelligences in places far away from Earth, and it's a really great vehicle for exploring the human condition through a different set of lenses, and that's really what I love about sci-fi.
Cool.
Wow, that's a great question. I mean, that was
Very
incredible.
Good question, Mark. Good answer, Jeff.
Thank you.
Let me go through some of these questions or comments that have backlogged a little bit. Mary Catherine, funeral home provider. Yes, thank you. People can't experience the joy we provide if they don't know about us. And the way they often find out about us is through a funeral home visit. Kiki B, 1 year passing of her husband, really condolences. But I'll tell you a story. I've told this a couple of times. I don't know if it will help you or not, but you say grant his wish, which makes me think this is something that you all talked about in advance. And one of my fondest memories is a woman who came to one of our recent launches and pulled me aside and said, Charlie, Dad didn't smile too much in his final days. But when we told him what we were going to do for him, he broke into a smile that just lasted the rest of his life. And that really is the kind of wish granting that we will like to do. Dale, when will we know the dates of the 3-day event? Do I want to give my jerk answer or no? So here's how that whole world works. Whatever date we tell you it will be, I can almost guarantee you it will not be that date. Launches move around. A whole lot of things have got to come together for a launch to get on the pad, and they don't press the button until they're certain of the things of everything.
There's a lot riding on the line.
It ranges from a boat in the landing zone to a weather issue to a technical issue to, for some reason, the FAA has decided to ground the mission for a few days. There's a whole lot of stuff that goes into a launch date. Let me tell you how we do it. So we'll get an indication. There will be a slot on the manifest at some point. Typically, we get an indication of that, I want to say almost certainly 30 days out, but that's just an indication. That's a planning date. And from that point, it can move day to day, or it can stay relatively steady for most of the month, and then it moves at T minus 7 seconds. So what we tell people is we will tell you when we're buying our tickets to go there. So that means we have confidence enough in the date to go ahead and we'll have planned the whole thing well in advance. Again, we've done a ton of these. But we'll let you know when, okay, we're now securing our reservations, and that means we have confidence in the window, the refund windows that are out there for airplanes and hotels and what have you. As we get closer and closer, we will communicate with you so much that you may say, stop. But our commitment is to be completely, and the only dates that we ever pass on are the dates that the service provider provides. So in this case, if Jeff tells us the launch date is this, we'll mirror that. If SpaceX tells Jeff the launch date is this, and he mirrors it back to us, those are the only sources of launch information that we use. So several things. Do not make non-refundable reservations. Just don't do it. Secondly, always allow for at least a 3 to 4 day slip from, even if you're getting on the airplane, you need to have in your planning, oh, this thing, there could be a lightning storm and it's going to move 2 days. So you need to build that flexibility into your travel plans. It's not the easiest thing in the world to attend a launch, but people do it all the time. We've hosted 23 of these things. They find a way to get there. And if you do that, you'll have an experience that is hard to describe in just how amazing it is. So we encourage as many people to try to come to the launch as they can, but the launches are all webcast. Our events are webcast. There's a good virtual way if you can't travel or you don't have the ability to have a flexible schedule. We'll make sure that there's plenty of coverage for you on the launch. I hope that's a long answer to when we will know the dates of the 3-day event. Just to let you know, SpaceX is so busy these days that as I follow their public announcements, they basically give a 1 to 2 day announcement of when we're going to fly. We'll have it back. We'll give you more than that. But again, those are the guys that control the launch. And so we look at it more of a confirmation. Again, just remember, rocket launch is like a golf swing. A whole lot of things have to come together for it to work. So, Mark, we're looking forward to hosting you. Heather, great thoughts. Norikai, Anami-san, we are looking forward to future launches with you and for you also. Let's see, Ken.
Yeah,
Wow,
I was about to signal you to Ken's comments there in the comment board.
Yeah, well, Ken, I worked for a gentleman named Deke Slayton for 10 years early in my career, and he was one of those original Mercury test pilots too. He stuck around until 75 and finally got to fly, but we're honored that Mr. Frazier will be on board, and I know exactly what you're feeling about happiness that he's finally going to make it to space. Let's see. Okay, and we got some Deke fans. He was great. I worked for him for a decade, and it was just a wonderful experience. And Susan, we'll look forward to having your family with us. Good group of folks today. Good group of questions. Anybody got anything that we want to? Jeff, any closing thoughts from you?
Just that timelines are variable. We're super excited to be able to host. It's going to be a whole lot of great, companies going up at once, and hopefully we'll be able to provide everybody with success. So
yeah, absolutely.
Well, we're working with you.
And there you see our mission patch, designed by the same. I used to call him a young man, but he's been doing it for 25 years for us, so he can't be that young anymore. But artist Eric Ginak, who has done mission patches for space shuttle astronauts and other. He's a very talented artist, and he has done all of our mission patches. And if you look at them, there's a common theme, that astronaut pin. Can you bring it back real quick, Mark? If you see in the middle that column going up and a circle and a star, that's an astronaut pin that NASA gives to the astronauts that have flown. So we didn't plagiarize it. NASA doesn't copyright anything, but it's an honor. We make so many people. We make thousands of people astronauts, and happy to do that. Patches available to purchase. I think they're going up fairly soon. We obviously we have the design, and I think they'll be up fairly quickly. But stay tuned. It's on our store at celestis.com. Whatever stuff that we're offering. All right, guys. Great evening. as always, thank you, viewers, logger honors, whatever we call. Appreciate your participation. Know that the excitement builds. And I got to tell you, April literally is just around the corner. So
Oh, yeah.
start thinking about your April in Disney World and Cocoa Beach and all the fun stuff there is to do in Florida that time of the year. Mark, I think that's a good show. So Jeff, thanks so much.
I want to thank Dr. Greenblatt for joining us. We really love to get, even though we're pros in this industry ourselves, but to literally get our Uber drivers on air is is a big thrill to us, and you definitely are a professional at Uber driving. So thank you so much for all of this. It's very informative. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. My pleasure. Really glad to be part of this.
All right, everyone. Once again, of course, this video is available for everyone to take a look at. I'll go ahead and drop these guys here. You can view this. You can share this with family members, people that could not attend this viewing. We try to do, like Charlie said, mission updates every few months, if not every month. Every month, the closer it normally gets to a launch. So please share this. It's information for you if you have questions. Don't hesitate to call the office and talk to that incredible staff that's there. They have answers for anything you may ask. So with that, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for everyone that viewed us tonight. We will see you really, really, really soon. Like Charlie said, April will be among us before you know it. There are a lot of thanks that are coming into Dr. Greenblatt. That's pretty cool. I don't know if you can see the chat room. Thank you, guys. We will be sending out messages for our next mission update. So we're not done yet. Take care. Have a great night. Bless all of you guys, okay?
This is the launch conductor in mission control. We pause at this moment in our countdown to remember and honor the lives of each of the participants on the Celestis Memorial Spaceflight. Their presence on this flight signifies a commitment to the opening of the space frontier shared by all of us. We wish the friends and families present today and all those who are with us in spirit all over the world Godspeed, good luck, and our thanks for allowing us to share this very personal time with you today. Elsie out. 5 vehicles armed. 3, 2, 1, fire.